Hello, my lovely peaches. Join me on this video. So this is the lesson that I'm teaching myself. Poof! And for a moment I was having the thought of, gosh, that could have been so nice. That could have been such a better situation. That could have been anything different than what it was. But no, it couldn't. No, it could not have been any different than what it was, because it was what it was. And that's true for... So, God, I suffered for years because of the idea that something that went nowhere could have gone somewhere if only somehow I had been different. But that was a lie, because all that it could have ever been was what it was. What it ever was what it was ever meant to be. And that's the thing that we forget. That's the thing that we don't know. That's the thing that we trick ourselves, lie to ourselves, tell ourselves it could have been something other than what it was. But it couldn't have been anything other than what it was, because all it could have been is what it was. I mean, you think that it could be something different, but it can only be what it is. It can only be what it can be. You can up-level yourself. You can get into a better situation. How much it challenges you, and then like the boredom and the skill level. So, but that's still not making it as clear as I want. The flow. Okay, so one level is, how hard is the challenge is this side, and then your skill level over here. Okay, so it's challenging enough where it's interesting and it's challenging me to work, but I can get it done and do a good job, and it pays me well, and the people are respectful, and they have good boundaries, and they have a good balance in their own life of work, life, pleasure, sleep, and they don't expect ridiculous hours from me or demand ridiculous deadlines. And yet it is challenging, and it's something that has potential for growth. And the same is true for relationships, romantic and friends. And that is what I'm manifesting. I affirm that I have the perfect clients, I have the perfect friendships, the perfect relationships, and I am perfectly ready to align with the perfect romantic partner to step into my life and into my manifested reality. But the most important takeaway of this video is to remind you, or to tell you for the first time if you've never heard this. Please stop telling yourself that it could have been anything other than what it is or what it was. It could not have been any different. It could have been what it was. It could have been what it is. Even if it was you that you think you could have showed up different, you should have showed up different, you could have tried more, you could have tried harder, or you could have left sooner, you could have tried less. So a bonus thing that's not in the long video actually on Patreon is this. Even if you think or thought or believe or wished or hoped or imagined or fantasized or expected or believed that they could have been different, should have been different, would have been different had you been different, or had the circumstances been different, or had you responded differently, or if they had been healthier, or if they had known something that you thought that they should have known that you think that they didn't know, which is why they didn't behave the way that you think that they could have or would have or should have. If they had known the thing, I know what that's like, because I believed if only I could explain myself. If only I could explain myself to him. If only he understood the 10 years worth of information that he needed to know, then he would have showed up differently. Then he would show up differently. If only I wait 12 years. If only I lose 100 pounds. If only I earn 100,000 more a year, a week, a day. If only I get that nose job and that boob job and my feet were smaller. If only I had better posture. If only my skin was darker or lighter. Or if only my hair were thicker or curlier or thinner or straighter or softer or longer or a different color. If only my eyes were naturally light. If only my lips were bigger. If only they lived a little bit closer. If only they had gotten through that thing that they needed to get through, that they said they needed to get through before they could be with me. If only they had gotten through that thing. If only they weren't bipolar. If only they hadn't been an abusive person who took advantage of me and abused me and treated me bad, and when they didn't get what they wanted, they turned evil. If only all that hadn't been true, then it could have been different. Okay. If only every single thing was different, then it would have been different. Yeah, but it wasn't and it isn't, and so therefore you need to just accept that they're not going to be the person you think they could have, should have, would have been if they had been them, that person. Stop torturing yourself with thoughts that it could have been different. It could have been what it was, because that's what it is. That's who they were. That's who you were. That's what it was. That's what it was. Accept that, and then you can heal and move on faster than torturing yourself with thinking it could have been different. Learn from that. Whatever it is what it was, but the most important thing is that you learn to grow. You learn how to look at what it was and to grow from it. I heard one guy say recently, it's not about manifesting or affirming that things will get better. It's about affirming and manifesting that you will get better, meaning you're going to learn from the situation. So I learned from this situation that just passed that I did not have strong enough boundaries. So I was so stressed for a month. I was like, oh my God, I was so stressed. But then I started to affirm. Once I started to affirm, that gave me the courage to know that that bad customer, that bad client could not possibly be the best client for me, because she was causing me horrible stress. And it was magical the way that it all unfolded. So this is just a reminder to myself that when I look back at situations and think, God, it could have been something different. No, it really couldn't have been, because even I was not at the place that I'm at now. So when you look back and you think, oh, I could have, should have, would have been different. No, you couldn't have, because you were whoever you were, then you were then. And whatever you knew, then you knew then. And hindsight is 20/20, and what you know now is going to benefit you now. So all you can do is choose how you're going to show up today, right now. Okay, and maybe how you're going to how you want to show up tomorrow, but really it's just about right now. You can change what's happening right now depending on how you show up. But you can't change how something unfolded before, because it's already over. And you can go back in your mind and change what it means to you. You can go back in your mind and change what you learn from it. You can change how you benefit from it. You can change the framework that you put it in your mind. You can change how you digest it emotionally, spiritually, physically, physiologically, mentally. You can get more out of it than you realized. You can get some curriculum for your own growth. You can see where your blocks are. You can see where you're hindered and where you're self-sabotaging, where you're holding yourself back. You can see a lot of stuff, but you can't change what it could have been. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye. See you in the next one. I hope this was helpful, or at least entertaining. Bye. You haven't lost anything. You haven't lost anything. I'm talking to myself, and I'm talking to you. If you're here and you're listening and you have any interest in the things that I say and the things that I talk to myself about, then I suppose that this could apply to you as well. You haven't lost anything. Just the caveat, which of course, when someone is no longer with us, that's a different kind of loss. So I'm not talking about that, okay? I'm just making a caveat because I don't want people to be like, well, what about... Okay, I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about a job that ends that you didn't want to end, or friendship that ends, or romantic relationship that ends, or a situationship, or a client that you had that doesn't continue with you, or a lot of things that we think we want. That apartment that you thought you wanted, or that promotion you wanted, or sometimes it could be a pet that you wanted to adopt, or a romantic relationship that you wanted to be permanent, or you wanted it to be more serious, or it is permanent and serious, but you want it to be more a different kind of way. Maybe you're in a relationship with somebody and you're so afraid that if you lose that person, if you lose that relationship, if you lose that connection, if you lose that life you have with them, you'll be at a loss. But sometimes, a lot of times, almost always, that's exactly what you need to lose in order to make room for the thing that you really want. So it seems like a loss, but it's a loss that has to happen. Like when you take out the garbage, yeah, you're throwing it away, you're giving it away, you're losing it. But that's a good thing. That's a good type of loss. That's a clearing out. That's a making room for the new, or getting rid of things that are rotting, that are going to attract unwanted pests and rodents and stuff. And so sometimes you think you're losing something, but it's really just shifting and making room for something new. Sometimes you really are losing. You're losing the job, you're losing the client, or you do throw the couch out in the bulk day trash, but you can't get a new one until you get rid of the old one. And that's true for relationships, it's true for clients, it's true for the couches, it's true for a lot of stuff. It's true for your mindsets and your belief systems. Like you can't get new belief systems if you're clinging to the old ones. And like what I was saying in the other video I did, if I keep clinging to the thought that, oh, this this client, ex client, is the best client for me when they're not, then I'm affirming something that is limiting and not true, and then that blocks me from leaving that client. Once I stopped telling myself this was the best client for me and I realized, wait, I could potentially get a better client, all of the things that I needed to do to get that better client started to become inspired actions. And what I didn't say in the first video that I made is that I asked her about if she had a reference, and the guy that I'm working with now, he also asked her, like right after I asked her, he asked her if she could tell him who her virtual assistant was. And then the person that he referenced me to asked him about a virtual assistant. But 2 days before, he didn't have one. That's the bridge of circumstances, and also known as the bridge of incidents. I don't remember where some manifesting person was like, you never see it, you never see it, you never see it. And I was like, when you start to notice, once you start to know about things like the bridge of circumstances, you do notice it. You do start to say like, oh my God, I did this, and then that happened, and then that happened, and then that happened, and that was like magical timing. And I literally was able to make the decision to quit that terrible client with another client lined up and another potential one lined up as well. So, you're not losing anything. You're not. Now, grief is a totally different subject, but you're not losing anything. And the sooner that you can realize, or put it another way, the only thing you're losing is a placeholder that's blocking your blessings, blocking the right thing. You're hoarding garbage and things that are blocking the better thing. So if you're losing anything, it's the blocks to your abundance. Okay, now it's 2:09 a.m. I'm gonna go eat my soup after I just burned. Okay, bye.